Good morning, everyone. Last week, we had the pleasure of listening to the song The Woman Who Planted Trees by Emily Barker, which was a perfect lead-in to our story for this week because it is about the same person, Wangari Maathai. And Professor Wangari Maathai founded the Green Belt movement to plant millions of trees across Kenya. And in our celebration of Earth Day and trees, Maathai is the perfect person to learn from. As Wangari Maathai tells it, when she was growing up on a farm on the hills of central Kenya, the earth was clothed in its dress of green. Fig trees, cotton trees, crotons, and flame trees covered the land, and fish filled the pure waters of its streams. The fig tree was sacred then, and Wangari knew not to disturb it, not even to carry its fallen branches home for firewood. She collected water from the streams and played with glistening frogs' eggs. Her heart was filled with the beauty of Kenya when she left to attend college in America, far, far from her home in Kenya. There, she studied biology, the science of living things. Wangari dreamed of making the world better, not only for herself, but for the world beyond herself. After being away for only 5 years, she returned to Kenya with a changed landscape. Wangari found the fig tree cut down, the little stream dried up, and no trace of frogs. Where once there had been mostly little farms growing what each family needed to live on, now almost all the farms were growing crops to sell, and the people could not afford to feed themselves well. So many trees had been cut down to clear the way for farms that women and children had to walk farther and farther in search of firewood to heat a pot or warm the house. Then there were fewer and fewer trees with each one that they cut down, and much of the land was as bare as a desert. Without trees, there were no roots to hold the soil in place, and without trees, there was no shade. The rich topsoil dried to dust and blew away. Rain washed the loose earth into the once clear streams and rivers, dirtying them with silt. The land, weak and suffering, could no longer take care of the people, and their lives became harder than ever. Wangari had a simple and big idea. Why not plant trees? She asked. She showed them how to collect tree seeds and taught them to prepare the soil. Most of all, she taught the women to tend the growing seedlings as if they were babies, watering them twice a day to make sure they were growing strong. It wasn't easy. Often the women had to dig a deep hole by hand and climb into it to haul heavy bucketfuls of water up over their heads. An early nursery failed, but Wangari was not one to give up. Many of the women could not read or write. They were mothers and farmers, and no one took them seriously. But they began to change their own lives and the landscape. Slowly, the woods grew again. Now, when a tree was cut down, 2 were planted in its place. Families were healthier, eating from the fruit trees they had planted and from the vegetable plots filled again with yams, cassava, pigeon peas, and sorghum that grew so well. In the 40 years now since Wangari began her movement, tree by tree, person by person, over 50 million trees have been planted in Kenya, and the planting has not stopped. When the soil is exposed, Wangari once said, it is crying out for help. It is naked and needs to be clothed in its dress. That is the nature of land. It needs color. It needs its cloth of green. As Wangari once said, it's not just about planting trees. It's about inspiring people to take care of their environment, the system that governs them, their lives, and their future. Happy Earth Day.